Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what Tennessee's depth chart and roster could look like without Bru McCoy on it next season. A lot of us kind of assumed that he would be back next season. You know, he had that horrible injury. Then he had surgery around October the 1st. Kind of felt like the, time frame didn't match up well with him being able to participate in a lot of the postseason stuff that you would need leading up into the NFL draft. So I'm going to show you guys, a couple of dates right here just to kind of keep a close eye out on. All right, so like I said, Bru had his ankle injury around October the 1st. And for this injury, it takes athletes 3 to 9 months to return to their sport. And, obviously, it's going to be on the longer end if you're playing a more physical sport like football. And Austin Price said that Bru's not with the team right now. He is in California still trying to rehab, but he is ahead of schedule, and there is a chance that Bru could show up to the game on Monday. But back to these dates, we see that the NFL Combine starts February the 26th, and that goes through March the 4th. We see that the pro days for Tennessee last year was right around March the 30th, probably will be close to that same time frame this season. Spring practice last year started March the 20th, and the NFL draft starts April the 25th, and that goes on through the 27th. All right, so for me, looking at those dates, if Bru wants to go to the NFL, he needs to be running, I would say, by the middle of next month. So he's only got a couple of weeks to get to that point. I do hope that he can get there. Austin Price made it sound like we'll hear something from Bru in the next couple of weeks. Really would love to have him back, but at the same time, I would be really happy to see him make it to the NFL as well. We've said that a lot of times on this channel. So there's no hard feelings. I don't want this video to be about that at all. Talking more about what are we going to do without him, because a lot of us have just anticipated that it was a slam dunk that he would be back. So with it kind of being up in the air, let's take a look at what the depth chart could look like. All right, so the first position that I want to look at is where Bru played at. Now, it could be called something different in their system, but just for the sake of this video, this is where Bru played at. I think that the first person that could fill that void would be Chaz Nimrod. He's going to be a redshirt sophomore next season. He's 6'3", 196 pounds. He had 17 catches, 178 yards last season, and 1 touchdown. All right, now I've got Chaz Nimrod right here because he was one of the more consistent playmakers that we had last season on the outside. But that's not to say that he would be probably the best fit to try to fill Bru's shoes, and we all know that that really can't be done. But if you want to try to have somebody that could give you anything near what Bru gave you, I actually like the upside of the next guy a lot better. And that is Nathan Leacock. He will be a redshirt freshman. He's 6'3", 209 pounds right now. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot from Nathan in college, but in high school, he was the guy that I was like, okay, he's going to be number 15 once Bru leaves. He's just that type of a player. He's got that type of strength. He's got that type of dog to his game. I could very easily see him being up somewhere close to 220 pounds, which is what Bru weighs. He's 6'3", 220. I think that Nathan could be very, very close to that, especially after the holidays and all that. Guys had some time off. Again, we didn't get to see any of him last year or, this previous season, but I am expecting that we'll see some of him in the Citrus Bowl. So he's definitely going to be one for us to keep a very close eye out on. I think that right now, for that X position where Bru is leaving from, if he does leave, closest battle right now has got to be between Chaz Nimrod and Nathan Leacock. All right, so after that, I've got Braylon Staley or Mike Matthews. I think that either one of these guys could fit in there. They are about the same size, and they are very similar in their styles of play. All right, so the next position is going to be the slot. I've got it marked as F on this screen. Obviously, Squirrel White, who will be a junior next season, fits into that position pretty easily. He should be the starter plug-and-play guy. He was the most productive wide receiver last year with 64 catches, 764 yards, and 2 touchdowns. One of the faster guys on this roster. Also one of the smaller guys. He's only 5'10", 175, but he's a dog. I trust him a lot. Behind Squirrel, I've got Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley again. I think that those two guys are going to be interchangeable. Now, after Matthews and Staley, I've got Boot Carter. So I know a lot of us think he's going to be playing defense, and that could very well be true, but he's so dynamic on offense. It's just so hard for me to think that he's not going to get some type of packages or something on offense. And then, too, if you look at that slot position, there really isn't a whole lot of depth. I mean, at least not from where I'm sitting. Now, you can kind of interchange some of these guys. I think that Chaz Nimrod could play in the slot as well. But there's not a whole lot of veteran depth right there, okay? Dante Thornton played some this previous season, but we saw that he didn't perform too well. He's more of an outside guy, and that's kind of where I've got him plugged in at. Let's go ahead and talk about the other outside guys. All right, so the other outside position I've got is marked as Z on this screen. I've got Chris Brazil being the starter right there. He's going to be a redshirt sophomore, 6'5", 200 pounds, had over 700 yards of receptions last season. Behind him, I've got Dante Thornton, 6'5", 214 pounds, 13 catches, 224 yards, 1 touchdown. Then I've got Caleb Webb at 6'3", 198 pounds, 14 catches, 148 yards, 1 touchdown. Dante Thornton, I believe, will be a junior or a senior next year. I'm not sure. Caleb Webb is going to also be a redshirt sophomore. And then I've got Nate Spillman. I think that Nate Spillman could play X or Z, 6'2", 195 pounds. All right, so that's how I see it playing out, right? But in a perfect world, you would love to be able to have Chris Brazil and Dante Thornton on the outside with an Ethan Davis or Holden Stays also at 6'5", playing at that Y position. Then you've got Squirrel White playing in the slot. That's a lot of size and that's a whole lot of speed. I think it'll be very difficult to cover those, those types of bodies out there. But I don't think that things will necessarily play out that way just because, Chaz Nimrod and Caleb Webb have been here and they're not just going to give up their positions that easily. And then too, Nate Spillman is a guy that we don't talk about very often on this channel, but he's a really good football player too. Would not be surprised to see him take a gigantic leap forward in the offseason. But at the end of the day, what you have to look at is the production that you're getting back. It's not that much outside of Squirrel White. So every single position to me is up for grabs. We talk about this a lot too. Coach Hype is going to have to play these young guys a lot more. He's going to have to rotate them in. And I think that they do have a plan for that. That's part of the reason that I think that Nathan Leacock's going to play in this Citrus Bowl. So let's just keep a close eye out on all those things. Let me know y'all's thoughts down in the comment section. But that's going to be it for this video. Really looking forward to it. And I also think that it would make a lot of sense if we could bring in another wide receiver in that transfer portal. As long as it's going to make sense for this roster, I think that we should. Evan Stewart, I don't know if we can kind of mend whatever bridges seem to have been burnt right there, but let's go ahead and do that. Let's get him back on the horn and let's see if we can't bring him in, because now all of a sudden you've got a lot more depth at that slot position. It's not just a whole bunch of freshmen and Squirrel White. But that's going to be it for this one, y'all. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Please also consider becoming a member of this channel and clicking that join button just below this video. That's going to be it. See y'all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.